If you look back here to my title, this was my one thing. Okay, one thing I learned from Dagan Smith that was powerful. He said that if your one thing should always be something like this. This should be how to blank without blank. Okay, how to, and then insert like what they want. Okay, so for the audience I was talking to, they all want high ticket sales. Everyone online right now is talking about high ticket sales. So how to instantly add high ticket sales to your sales funnel. Okay, that's what they want. But what do they not want? Okay, for my audience, they don't want to pick up the phone. Okay, so you do that without personally talking on the phone to anyone ever. Can you guys see that? So for your market, what is it? How to lose a ton of weight overnight without giving up carbs. Okay, do you see how that works? So that's usually what my one thing is tied to that, the how to without. If you can figure out how to fit it into that little template, that little formula, it's magic, okay? So that's my one thing. So what's key about this is that this entire webinar the entire webinar is focused on that one key point, okay? And every single thing else I talk about, the only goal of those things is to re-emphasize over and over and over again this one thing. Okay, does that make sense, you guys? Okay, so I'm not going to be like, I'm going to show you this and this and this and this. I'm showing you this, and then all these secrets, they tie back and they strengthen and they solidify that one thing. Okay, so again, here's my one thing. That was my one thing for this presentation. Then I come down here. Now I'm going to reveal the 3 secrets. These are my 3 coaching points on this, okay? So secret number 1 is I can make more money in one day selling high-ticket products than I can in an entire month selling normal products. Okay? So that's my big secret. That's my first aha, my big thing I want to reveal to them. Okay? But what is this? Is that a new thing? No, all it's doing is it's strengthening the one thing. Okay? It's showing them how they can make high-ticket sales without picking up a phone. So secret number 1 is that you can make more in one day selling high-ticket sales, an entire month selling normal products. Secret number 2 for me now was personally, I don't have to sell any, or I personally don't have to sell anything because, which is a big plus because I hate the phones. Okay, so second secret I'm going to show them is how they can do this without them ever picking up the phone. And then my third big secret is that you only need a little bit of traffic to make that work. Okay, most everyone's freaking out because, oh, it's going to take a ton of traffic and all this stuff to make this work. No, you only need a little bit of traffic to make this whole thing sing. Okay, so those are my 3 secrets. So I show those up front, like, hey guys, during this webinar, okay, I told you that we're going to talk about how to sell high ticket things without picking up the phone. Now to do that, I'm going to show you my big 3 secrets. Okay, secret number 1 is this, secret number 2 is this, secret number 3 is this. So I kind of tell them what it is. Now I'm going to break into the content. Okay, now I'm going to show you secret number 1. So I come in and I say, this is what secret number 1 is. I can make more money in one day selling high ticket products than I can in an entire month selling normal products. Okay. Now notice that my secrets are they're typically backwards from what most people are thinking or what most people believe. Okay, I'm trying to break a belief pattern. That's why down here you see break and rebuild their belief patterns. Okay. So most of the people I'm talking to, they're selling ebooks, they're selling network marketing opportunities, they're selling low ticket stuff. And so I got to break that first paradigm, that first belief pattern. Okay. So what I do is I got to break it. So the first thing to do is I break this pattern. Okay. I come and say, look, high ticket secrets, I say, look, for typical price, if you're selling $37 product and you want to make $5,000 a month, you got to sell 135 products. Okay, 3% conversion rate, that's 4,500 clicks. Okay, that's really, really hard. All right, and then I talk about to make $5,000 in selling a high ticket thing, I just got to sell one. Or if I'm selling a $25,000 thing, I just got to sell 1/5. Every 5 months, I got to sell one to make the exact same amount of money as it took you to make $37 product. Okay, so my goal is to break their belief pattern. Okay, I got to break this thing. You think that you have to sell $37 products. I got to break that thing, and I got to rebuild it with the pattern I want you to believe. Okay, and the pattern that I want them to believe for this webinar, what's my pattern I want them to believe? I want them to believe, what's my one thing? They can do high ticket sales. That's my one thing. High ticket sales, high ticket sales. That's my one thing, right? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, now I switch over to secret number 2. Secret number 2 is I don't personally have to sell anything because I hate the phones. Okay, so most of these guys who see people doing high ticket stuff, they're like, high ticket stuff seems awesome, but I gotta pick up the phone and I don't want to pick up the phone. I'm scared to talk on the phone to people. So that's their belief pattern. So what I gotta do, I gotta break that belief pattern and I gotta rebuild it. So for me, I try to break it this way. I said, here's 3 reasons why people like me should never ever pick up the phone. Okay, first off, I'm way too busy. I don't even want to answer my own support. I'm scared to death to be on the phone, and it's just bad positioning. Okay, most of these guys are like, yeah, I'm too busy too. Yeah, I'm scared. Oh, bad positioning. Sweet. Yeah, I don't want to talk to them anyway. Okay, I'm justifying their fears, right? So I'm breaking that belief pattern because they've always believed that they have to be on the phone. So I break that belief pattern, and then I start rebuilding it. So let me rebuild it. This is all you really need is 2 commission-based salespeople. You guys know what commission-based means? It means you only pay them when they make you money. Notice I said just 2 people, not 60. Okay? In the past, I had 60 people, and it was a nightmare, but I figured out a new way to do it. And this is how it worked. And I talk about this experiment. And then this is the old model, how we did it, the new model. So again, I'm breaking this pattern, and I'm rebuilding it. Okay? And I'm taking them on the journey that I went through to rebuild it. Because I had the same pattern in my head. That's why I had 60 salespeople working for me, okay? So I'm taking them on the journey I went through to break that I had to go through to break my own pattern and how I rebuilt it. And I'm taking them on that journey so that I can help break it with them and rebuild it with them. Boom. So I started experiment. Here's how it worked and what happened and how we made $36,000 in a day and how we grew from there. And we got 2 salespeople and boom, 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 boom. And then I say, hey, you want to meet Robbie? And this is now where I went back to my initial hook, okay, where I did a hook to the end. I was like, you guys want to see the mini call center? And I put on my laptop webcam mic and I walked him into the other room. Now, typically I would do this at the end of the webinar, but for this one, it just tied into secret number 2, so I needed to do it then. Okay. All right. So there's secret number 2. And you notice, like, I'm teaching him cool stuff, but I'm not really teaching him anything. Does that make sense? Okay. But you're learning cool things because because what's happening is I'm breaking these belief patterns and I'm rebuilding them. And so while I'm not giving you any, like, here's step 1, 2, 3 on how to do anything, you're learning. Your paradigm has been shifted, which people they resonate with that. That feels like learning to them, right? And so don't feel guilty. Don't feel like you're not going to be teaching them stuff because you are teaching them, but you're doing it in a different way. That I think is a better way to shift somebody's paradigm and shift the way they believe is way more powerful than here's step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, so you're teaching in a different way, and it's a way that sets up the sale. Okay. All right, now for me, I moved to secret number 3, which is I only need a little bit of traffic to make this work, about 100 clicks. Because what do most people think? I would love to do high ticket things, but I can't drive traffic. I can't send 1,000 clicks a day. You know, that in their mind, it's got to be this huge thing. So what I got to do? I got to break that belief pattern. And I got to rebuild it. So I start breaking. Let me show you how we do it. Boom! I take them to a case study page, then a homework page. Is how it works. Now, if I sell high ticket products, this is how it'd be. You know, here's all. I send 4,500 clicks to make my $5,000 a month. Plus, I got to spend money on those clicks, so I end up making almost nothing. Or selling high-ticket things. Check this out. If I sell a $5,000 product, 1 out of 10 who apply are going to sign up for the $5,000 product. 1 out of 10 who visit the application page are going to apply. So 100 clicks equals 100 applications equals 100 buyers. That means all I've got to do is send 100 clicks a day, and I can make $5,000 a day. Is that awesome? And I start future pacing them. Imagine if you're selling $10,000 or $25,000 or $100,000. Think how much money that is. And imagine if you, instead of sending 100 clicks a day, what if you send 200 clicks a day? Or instead of 2, what if you sent 300 clicks a day? Boom, and I teach them, right? All right. So there's the content. So you guys see how I structure that? It's all about, and you notice how like secret 1, 2, and 3, all they're doing is supporting the one thing, the one core focus of this entire thing. It's not new content. It's not the next thing. It's not anything else. Because I promise you guys, if 10 of you guys make a webinar and you come back to me, 9 of you guys are going to do this wrong. You're going to have the one thing, which is the first thing you're excited to teach, then this will be the next thing, and the next thing. You'll be awesome teachers, and people are going to love what you're going to share. But it's not gonna result in sales at the end. This is how you have to structure your content to result in sales at the end. Okay. All right. Now from here, this is where we transition to the sale. Okay, and this is where most people start getting really, really, really nervous. The other day I was at this, someone that goes to church with me, they said, hey, we're doing this little party at our house. You want to come on over? And my wife got all excited. So we went to this party. I show up and it was an MLM party. Now for me, I'm super fired up and excited. I love seeing people sell stuff. I love MLMs. And so they're pitching this thing, right? So they get up in this little room with like 10 people and I got a big old grin on my face and everyone else is like all nervous because they think they're getting pitched. And I'm so excited. And the person's talking and they're showing it was essential oils and showing the oils, how they work. And the content was amazing. Like you could tell they were so fired up and passionate. And all of a sudden, about an hour into it, the lady who's speaking, I see her start talking faster. And she starts talking faster and she starts getting nervous and her face turns red. She starts sweating and she starts mumbling and all these things start happening. And I just start laughing because I know she's getting so close to wanting to sell me something, but she's so scared. And all of a sudden she went, oh, and by the way, you can make money, blah, 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 blah. And then she ended. And if you want any more questions, then my husband's over there, blah, blah, and ended. And it was the most awkward thing in the world. And that's how most people do when they love the teaching part and you transition to sell, they get scared, they get nervous, they get whatever that is, right? It happens to all of us. I've been on tons of webinars where people don't know how to transition from that to the next. And so in this webinar, I didn't use it, but traditionally, this is the excuse me, this is the way I transition. And for you guys, I would say this is probably the first webinar I haven't transitioned this way. And if I was to redo this webinar, this would be the one thing I would change about it, is this transition. It works. So I finished teaching the content, right? I teach this last thing about how much traffic you need. I show them, imagine doing this, and they're kind of in this future state where they're excited about the future. And I stop and I say, let me ask you a question. This stuff's been pretty cool, right? You've had we've had a good time over the last hour. You've learned some good stuff, but an hour's not that long. Like, how would you guys like to work with me directly, and where I can actually help you to implement what we just talked about? Boom, that's it. Let me ask you a question, and then kind of talk about everything that you just went over. How would you like help on this? Because I guess all of them are thinking at this point. I just do this whole future pacing about them making 10 or 25 or 100 grand. They're so excited. But then they get that feeling where it's like, wow, I don't know how to do that. It's going to be a lot of work. And that's when you come in and save the day. And you say, look, let me ask you a question. All that stuff we just covered, it's exciting, right? You just imagine 100K. What would that do for you? What would that do for your life? Okay, it's pretty cool, right? Let me ask this question, like, how would it help you, like, as your teacher, as your coach, whatever, I want to serve you, like, how would you like if I could actually help you implement this? And guess what everyone comes back and says? They come back in the chat box and say, yes, please, I want help. I love help. How can you help me? Help me. And then I like asking permission, like, okay, well, a lot of you guys want information. I've got something I can do that can help you, okay? Now, I know it's always awkward, like you're on this webinar and, you know, I do have something to sell, and if you guys are okay with that, I'd love to share it with you. If not, I won't. But if you want me to share it with you, let me know. People are like, yeah, share, and they start asking you to sell them, okay? And it becomes really easy after you transition past that, right? And now from there, I transition over to what I call the stack, okay? Now you notice the stack, you won't see it for a little bit here because the stack now is the framework that the rest of the presentation takes. And then these closes are closes that you sprinkle in between the stack, if that makes sense. So let me tell you what the stack is. So typically and I learned this from Armin Moore, and I will give him 100% credit. He's made me, like, literally this stack has made me over $10 million in direct sales I can tie back to this concept I'm going to teach you right now, called the stack. It was before I spoke, my first time speaking Armin's event. And it was 2 weeks before we were at a Dan Kennedy event. Armin got up there and he spoke to an audience of 1,000 people. And he closed, like, I don't know, it was insane, like 30 or 40 or 50% of the audience. They ran back and he did, like, I don't know, it was just shy of $1 million in sales by himself. And I remember watching, I was just like, that was the coolest thing ever. And afterwards he came up to me with this huge stack of order forms in his hands. He's like, you want a bunch of order forms like this next week or in 2 weeks when you speak at my event? I'm like, yeah, man, I totally do. Like, what do I got to do? And he said, I got to teach this little process called the stack. He's like, if you do it, you'll get a big stack of order forms. You don't do it, you're not going to make much money. It's like, that's just how it works. I'm like, all right, well, how's it work? He said, this is the big secret. He said, most of the presenters, you watch the way they do their presentation, is they'll say, hey, the first thing you're going to get is this, and then you're going to get this, and then you're going to get this. And he keeps walking through all the stuff they're going to get. And then the last slide, they're like, this is bonus number 12. This is what you're going to get. And then they go over to the next slide. We're like, I'm going to give you all this stuff for, you know, $10,000. And then they start doing the price drop. Now what happens, he says, the only thing that the human mind remembers is the last thing they were showed. So right before you show them this big price, the only thing they remember is bonus number 10 or 12, whatever your last thing is you showed. And if that bonus doesn't justify that price in their mind, then they're not going to buy it. He said, so I invented this thing called the stack. He said, this is how it works. You can kind of see here. He says, I start my presentation and I stack like the first component, and I talk about it. And then, actually, I'll show you guys how it works down here. So when I did the stack, first thing I did is I show right here. I said, let me talk about what you're going to get. Okay, first thing you're going to get is this. So I did the first stack. Second thing you're going to do is you're going to get this. And third thing you're going to do is this. Okay, if I was clicking through these, they're animated. Fourth thing you're going to do is this. Boom. So this is the total value of $8,000. So this is the core offer. Okay. So if any of you guys are like, if you have your core thing you're teaching somebody, some of you guys, it's going to be 6 modules, or it's going to be, 4 modules teaching blah, 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 blah. That's what this was. This is my core offer, right? I'm going to show you how to set up a 2-step funnel, help you set up a mini call center. I'm going to give you the actual script to use. I'm going to give you Robbie in a box. Boom, there's the core offer, right? Now I'm going to start adding value. That's these little smiley face guys are. I'm adding value, right? So I'm going to give you this bonus, which is unlimited traffic. Boom. And I'm going to give you this bonus, which is our ads and our interviews, okay? So what that means is, now I stack this. That means you're going to get, and I recap, the first thing I told them, the second thing, the third thing, the fourth thing. So I just reset that. Then I say, plus you're going to now get bonus number 1, which is unlimited traffic, which is the $1,997 value. Plus you get bonus number 2, which is hiring commissions and more for $997. So now the total value of this package is $11,998. Okay, you guys have probably seen me do this before, right? Or you've seen other presenters. Okay, it's kind of cheesy, right? But I go through and I start doing some of these other closes, and other closes, and then I come back and I add another bonus. Okay, I'm going to give you this consult, a 30-minute consult with Robbie, which is the $2,000 value. And I come back. Boom, 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 I get the guarantee, boom, boom. Then I stack it again, which means you're going to get the 2-step funnel. You're going to get this mini call center valued at $2,000. You're going to, and literally, you guys, by the time you've done the stack like 5 or 6 times, you're going to be so embarrassed. And I remember the first time I did this at a seminar, people were laughing and it got kind of like ridiculous. But guess what? Everybody knew exactly what the offer was and they bought like crazy. So I don't not ever do this because it works so good. Okay. Component number 3, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this, and then which means you're also going to get this, and you're going to get this, and then like I just told you, I'm going to add in this bonus as well. Which means the total value now is this price. Isn't that awesome? And I drop in some more closes, boom, recap again. So I'm going to stack it again, and then I give them the price, and then they can buy it. Okay, so that's kind of the form of how the stack works. Okay, guys. For those who were in Boise, Natasha was there, and I taught Natasha the stack probably 2 years ago, and she's one of my favorite people. She learned something, she applies it. She did the first webinar and she crushed it, and she did it again and she crushed it. She's like, I feel so cheesy, but I just do it because it works every single time. And she just killed it over and over and over again. And then she did her very first live event here in Boise, and she had a room, literally I think her room had maybe 30 or 40 people. It was a smaller event, and she, at the end of the 3-day event or 2-day event, she did a presentation I used to sell her high-end coaching, and she did the stack, and she actually had huge boards up on the wall that had the stack, but everything was kind of covered up. And one time she pulled the second thing off, and she did the whole thing, and boom, she did her stack, and she sold 10 people at $5,000, over $50,000 in sales from one presentation to a group of like 30 people by using the stack. And she swears by it. She won't ever not do it. And I'm the same way. Okay, after Armin showed it to me, I added it to my presentation. I went and did his event, and boom, I crushed it. I was the #1 salesperson at the event. I walked away with like almost $100,000 in sales, and I was like, this thing is awesome. And I just have used it every single time religiously since then. Actually, that's not true. Once I thought I was too smart and I didn't use it, and I bombed. I still remember the webinar. I was so embarrassed. I was doing it for some guy, and I thought I had a better idea than the stack, and I did it, and webinar bombed. And I've put it back in. I've never not done it since then. Okay, so that's the webinar works, you guys. Here's component number 1. Boom, talk about component number 1. Here's component number 2, which means you're gonna get this and this. Talk about that. Add testimonials. These little smiley faces are bonuses, testimonials, inserting closes, just a whole bunch of stuff to strengthen and fortify that next component. Then you restack it. Share the next thing, restack it. Share the next thing, restack it, and then boom. After you restack it all, now is when you come to the big price. Okay, that means the total price of all this stuff. Where did I do that on? The total price is somewhere. Boom. Okay, the total price is $11,998. I show the big, huge price. Now, most people, they do that and they get scared. They're like, oh, but don't worry, guys. I'm not going to charge you that. And what happens? You just lost your credibility. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see webinar people do. They show the big price and then they freak out. Don't worry, guys. I'm not going to charge you that. And they move on. That's like the worst thing. And this is a tactic I learned from Dustin and Dave, is as soon as I revealed a huge price, right? I show that $11,000 thing. Now I need to make that price. I need to justify that price in their head. If I don't justify that price in their head, then they're not. Then when I actually sell the product, it's not going to work. I have to get them mentally to believe that it's actually worth that. And if I don't, then I lost the sale. Okay, so after I show this high ticket thing, this now is where I actually add my if-all statements. Okay, I learned this from Dave Van Hoos. So I set the high price and I say, look, guys, I'm not going to charge $11,998 today. I could, but I'm not going to. But I want to ask you something. And then this is where you add your if-all. If all that this package did was blank, would it be worth it? If all this package did was finally make your business profitable, would it be worth $11,000? Yeah, I thought so. Now, if all this package did was finally give you the kick in the butt you need to get moving, would it be worth it? Yeah, I think so too. Now, if all this package did was give you 2 to 3 high-ticket clients per month, would that be worth it? Yeah. I don't know about you, but I'd trade $12,000 for 2 or 3, $5,000 to $10,000 sales a month all day long. This is a one-time investment. You do it once, you never have to pay again. But that knowledge, the information, everything you got will pay you forever. Okay? So these if-all statements, they solidify this price in their mind. Does that make sense, you guys? If-alls. And now I come back and say, but don't worry, guys, I'm not going to charge you that. In fact, what I'm going to do is, and you can start dropping the price. Okay? I went a little bit further because I talked about 2 to 3 clients. What's that worth to them? And I said, and I want to ask you another question. Like, what's one client going to be worth to you? If your package at $5,000, it's worth $5,000, $10,000, $25,000 or more. So how much would you pay to get one high ticket client per month? How about one per month, per week? How much per day? What would you pay for that? Okay, you probably would pay $12,000 if I could show you that, right? It's a good deal. But don't worry. Oh, and then I also we had a couple people pay us $1 million to have something similar. So I again said in the value, like we've had people pay us over $1 million for this, literally, and you're getting it for a fraction. So don't worry, I'm not gonna price it at $5,000. I'm not gonna do it for $2,000. I'm gonna do it for $1,000. So price dropped down. Now they're like, sweet, here's a really good deal. Okay, so there's my if-alls and my price drop, and then my call to action, which is go click on the order form or whatever it is. Okay, so that's kind of the framework of the close. Someone asked a question. Oh yeah, someone's asked, do I actually show the price multiple times? Yeah. So I don't ever show the price until I hit the first time when the price drops. As soon as I hit the price the first time, then I give them the call to action, and then I usually have the call to action on every slide after that because I'm going to keep selling after I've hit that. So I'm going to keep, again, I talk about a bonus here, and I come back, boom, there's a call to action. And I drop another close, and then boom, another call to action. Call to action, call to action. So I have this thing, now that they know the prices, I want to keep pushing them. Like all these rest of these slides, the only goal of all the rest of these slides is to push them to go order. I'm trying to tip those people over who are sitting on the fence, who haven't done anything yet, pushing them, trying to get them over the edge, so that boom, they'll fall in and they'll actually order. Okay? All right. So now I'm going to go through these closes. So these closes are awesome. There's, what do we have, 16 of them here? 16 closes. Now, some of you guys will be like, you close people 16 times during a webinar, Russell? And the answer is kind of. Sometimes I do more, sometimes I do less. I don't always do all of them. I use a bunch of them, though. So these are a bunch of them. These are not all the closes in the world. These are just 16 of them I have for you right now. I could make up more and come up with more. I've seen other speakers do more. Some of these are ones that I've done in the past. Some are ones I learned from a guy named Jason Fladel, some are ones I've seen Armin do. Some are just, there's a whole bunch of different ones in here. And so I'm just going to show you kind of what they are and how they work. Let me find my notes here. So there's a bunch of them, and you'll kind of see as I go through here how I used a bunch of these. Let's see. All right. So I have like 30 pages of notes here that I was getting all ready before this. So I got to make sure I find them all right. Okay. So the money is good close. Funny enough, that's like the one I cannot find. I'll find that in a second. I'm gonna move on to this. I'll start disposable income, and I'll come back to that when I find that one. Disposable income is one of my favorites. So if you come up here, you'll see where I use disposable income. Disposable income. Okay, so disposable income. This is where you talk about the fact that look, all of us have disposable income. Like most of you guys, you get your paycheck each month, and a percentage of that goes towards movies and towards things like that. And I'm not asking you guys to go into debt for this at all. What I'm trying to ask you guys to do is that some of that disposable income that you're going to spend on the movies and going out to dinner and all that kind of stuff, instead of blowing it on something that's just going to be there and then kind of fade away and you're going to lose it, I'm asking you to make an investment in yourself, because the money you put into this is going to turn into more money. Okay, a lot of times, like talking about, I might talk about Robert Kiyosaki here. Like, if you guys have read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, now in the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, he talked about the difference between assets and liabilities. He said that the poor people, they buy liabilities. Okay, they buy cars, they buy boats, they buy these things you put money in and the money disappears. Okay, what the rich people do is they put their money into investments that actually turn into more money. So all I'm doing is ask you is to divert some of your disposable income into an investment, as opposed to something that's going to take money away from you. Okay, that's kind of how I do the disposable income close. Okay, money replenishes close. This one is one of my other favorite ones. So money replenishes is basically the concept is look, every single month you get a paycheck. fact, I wonder if where I put this one in here. Might not be able to find it on the fly. So as you can see, though, I sprinkle these out throughout the stack. I'm not going to find it real quick. Anyway, money replenishes. So basically, it's like, look, this is how it works. Every 2 weeks, you get paid a paycheck, right? And the cool thing about it is you get that paycheck, you go out, you pay your bills, you buy your disposable income, you spend that money, and the money disappears, right? But what happens 2 weeks later? You get paid again. That money replenishes. And the cool thing about money is money always replenishes. Okay, every 2 weeks, it comes back again. Every 2 weeks, it comes back again. It keeps coming back in over and over and over again, right? Now, let me ask you a question. Does that happen with your time too? Like when you miss your daughter's soccer game because you're at the office, like, do you get that time back? No, it doesn't, huh? Isn't that weird? Like, money replenishes every single 2 weeks, but your time never comes back. So I'm asking you to do is to take an asset, take a resource that replenishes every 2 weeks is going to come back. You're going to get that money back every 2 weeks, and invest in something that's going to save you a ton of time. Because you can learn this stuff. You can go do what I did. You can go hire 60 salespeople. You can go and build your own call center. You can build a sales team. You can hire. You can do all this stuff. But I'm trying to do with this package that I created for you guys, I'm just trying to save you a bunch of time. Okay? And because you can't get your time back, I'm asking you to take money, which is replenishable, which in 2 weeks from now, you're going to have that money back anyway. It doesn't even matter. And do that to help, to give you something that's going to save you the time. Okay? So you show them how money replenishes, and they're like, yeah, you're right. It's going to be back. But my time, wow. My time doesn't come back. Okay? And you can learn this stuff on your own. And then again, this works in any market. You can go learn how to lose weight on your own. But man, that time you waste testing and trial, that time doesn't come back. Your money's going to be back in 2 weeks. It keeps coming back. Like clockwork. Okay? And that's how it works. Even if you lose your job, guess what? The government's going to replenish it for you. It keeps coming back. Okay? So take some of that money, blow it on my stuff instead, and then it'll be back in 2 weeks anyway. Okay? All right. Next close is the break old habits close. This one's awesome because in the webinar, they're all fired up. They're excited. Like, I want to ask you guys a question. So a lot of you guys, you've probably been on these kind of webinars before in the past, right? You get excited, you get fired up, and what happens the next day? Probably nothing for most of you guys. Okay, and it's sad because I just showed you guys the exact system I'm using right now to make $100,000 a week. You're going to go back tomorrow and not do anything. Okay, and the reason why is because old habits, they're hard to break. Okay, you'll go back to your office the next day and you're going to be back to the exact same habit. The only way you're going to be successful is if we figure out a way to break that habit right now. Okay, and the way you're going to break that habit is by investing in this course. Now I can come here and I can help you and give you all the tools you need to break that habit so you can become successful. But tell you, if you don't do that, you're going to slide back to your exact habit. Okay, everything we did for the last hour here will be completely useless because you're slip back to your old habit. So the only way to break that is to invest right now. So now you have the tools to break that habit and be able to take this to the next level. Okay, that's the break habit close. Let's see. The money is good. I don't know why in the world I can't think of the money is good close. All right. Okay, information alone close. So information alone is basically, look, guys, over the last 90 minutes, we've shared a ton of information with you. But as you know, information alone is not going to save you. Okay, you need systems, you need action, you need all this other stuff I'm sharing with you. Okay, for mine, it's like you need to talk to Robbie on the phone. He can train your salespeople. You need the scripts. You need this. You need all this other stuff. Okay, I've given you a ton of information last hour, but information alone will not get you to where you want to be. You need my package because that's what's going to help you to get to the next level. That's what's going to give you the coaching, the accountability, the whatever it is your offer is. That's where you're going to get that. Okay.